it to you. All of them reported that I pled guilty. None of them got the transcripts from the court. None of them reported the truth. We have a corrupt media. When I went to prison and 600,000 people signed a petition for my release, 30,000 people marched here demanding my release. When I come out of prison, I was completely unaware of the lengths that they were going to take me down. My PayPal was removed. That removes my ability to hire a team and work and bring you the other side of the story. My website was closed down, but I was completely unaware that Panodrama, the world's leading investigative journalist documentary, were working on a program about me with the working title, Tommy Takedown. This was their final punch. They were about to discredit me to the nation, to you, the public. And I will prove that that documentary is not impartial, that it's scripted, that they invent things, that they lie, that they clip, that they edit. What you will witness in this documentary will prove to you this isn't about Tommy Robinson. This is about all the people that have been lied to, all the people who have been mislabeled, despite all their efforts to silence me. It became very apparent that something far more sinister was going on. With the collusion between the establishment, Panodrama, and a far-left extremist organisation called Hope Not Hate. You're going to hear about the tactics they use to get the narrative they want. In this documentary, you're going to hear a lot about Hope Not Hate. It's important you understand who they are. Hope Not Hate is a so-called anti-fascist organisation who formed in 2004. They formed from a group and a magazine called Searchlight. Nick Lowles, who now leads Hope Not Hate, was a lead member of Searchlight. In 1984, Searchlight worked alongside Panodrama to fraudulently edit footage which they were prosecuted or taken to court and sued for. They paid £1 million damages to Conservative MPs who they wrongfully edited footage to link them with far-right extremist groups. Hope Not Hate brand themselves as an anti-fascist organisation. They're there to tackle fascism. In reality, they label, slander and attack anyone who speaks out against open borders or against Islam. The worrying thing is they have a lot of influence. For example, all media outlets across the UK, across the world, take what they say as credible and they work hand in hand with them. From CNN, The Guardian, Huffington Post, The Independent, Sky News, Newsnight, Panodrama, The Metro, The Sunday Times. They even advise the UN. They advise counter-terrorism. In their advice to the UN, they say that our Day for Freedom demonstration that many of you would have watched was a far-right extremist rally. That's fake news, being given as credible information and taken as expert info by the UN. Our Day for Freedom demonstration had homosexual speakers, drag artists, black speakers, Asian speakers. There was nothing far right against it. It was a liberal demonstration demanding free speech.
So what happens is when someone gets censored on Twitter for some kind of for hate speech or for incitement to violence or engaging in some kind of terrorist communication, they get their account taken down. They tend to come back, and that actually leads to sort of an increased level of sense of participation and integration into these networks. So I do a lot of work looking into right-wing extremism in the United Kingdom and the United States. And one of the things that we've seen there is actually an entire mobilization of right-wing extremist activity around the concept of the freedom of speech being taken away from people. So just a few weeks ago in London, there was a march attended by a few thousand people that was called Day for Freedom, and that was entirely sort of centered around this issue of free speech and the sense that in the kind of parlance of the extreme right, the liberal establishment was trying to silence extreme right, legitimate conservative voices.
Just last year, Hope Not Hate were identified in a Swedish military report on left-wing extremist violence. It has been proven that Hope Not Hate exaggerated hate crime figures by 3,000%. Nothing they said after that point should ever have been taken as credible, let alone taken by journalists without checking anything and spread around the world to demonise and slander people and organisations. They play a key role in pressurising social media giants, whether it be with petitions or requests from MPs that they're working alongside with to say who's promoting hate. Not who's promoting hate that would breach laws in this country, but who needs silencing with their opinion. They're now teaching your children in schools about fascism. If we take a quote from their original spin doctor, Dan Hodges, from his quote you'll understand the tactics they use in this documentary. It was a no-holds-barred, bare-knuckle PR. We used every dirty, underhand, low-down, unscrupulous trick in the book. These are quotes from their spin doctor, Joe Morhale, who is a lead researcher for Hope Not Hate. He brags about days out with their BBC political reporters. Their relationship works hand in hand with the corrupt mainstream media. They do the reports, the media then use their ammunition and their labelling to attack people and organisations, to demonise them and slander them. In 2015, Joe Morhale used the hashtag Antifa on several occasions. The reason why this is so relevant is when you understand who Antifa are. Antifa are an organisation that leading members of the American government have called to be prescribed as a terrorist organisation. They balaclava up, they mask up, and they violently attack people who they're told to attack, and organisations which are highlighted to them by groups and organisations like Hope Not Hate. They find out who you are, they contact your work, anyone who steps above the parapet. Hope Not Hate's goal is to silence them and stop them. This is about stopping free speech. This is about having people too scared to speak. We'll speak with one gentleman now whose life has been completely changed due to him voicing his opinions. He broke no law, committed no crime. But wait till you hear what Hope Not Hate done to him.
This time last year, like I said, I was working full-time, happy, and because of some things I was doing outside of work, while sort of expressing my political opinions and so on, I ended up drawing their fire, and they wrote a report and called it in to the employer. So it was a kind of deliberate attempt to, it wasn't just to dox me, because I hadn't hidden my name, I didn't think I was doing anything wrong, I was just expressing an opinion, but it was an attempt to deliberately get me fired.
Where was you working?
I was working at Standard Chartered Bank in Moorgate.
Doing what?
I was an associate, so I've been there from a grad. I went to Bristol University and then went into the bank straight afterwards. So I've been there for about just around 18 months at this point.
So a good career.
Yeah, it was going well. Internally, there'd been no issues.
When you say you got involved, you was giving your political opinions with regards to?
Obviously, the controversial stuff, so immigration, Islam, these kind of issues, but not in an extreme way, nothing you wouldn't happily say to anyone.
Just so we can get clear, we're not talking about committing a crime, we're just talking about speaking openly about immigration and Islam.
Yeah, and no one had a problem with it. That's the whole point that kind of strikes me about it.
It's not like anyone made a complaint, nothing's happened, so what did Hope Not Hate do?
So Hope Not Hate, one of their, I can't remember which, but the team of their researchers wrote a small report. They were calling up multiple offices at the bank, and they were also focusing, because obviously we have a very big presence in the Middle East, so they were focusing on officers there to call them and just basically say, you've got this guy working for you, he's an Islamophobe, he's a racist, blah, 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 all of which obviously isn't true. I remember I was just sitting at my desk and I get called in by the MD and he sort of says, have you been saying this? And I said, yeah, no, I haven't. I didn't see it as a problem. The same guys were going to a lot of journalists trying to flog this report as well to make a big story out of it. Eventually, in around the summer of last year, you get this article and it's very vicious and it's obviously largely lifted from the report that came out a few using using kind of nonsense labels. Yeah, I was handed coverage, obviously it's their reputation on the line. So then pretty much immediately I was fired. I have worked...
Just so that the public understand this, you committed no crime. You speak outside of work about immigration or Islam with no hatred, just facts. And because of that, where are you now? How's your life changed? What do you see for your future now?
Financially very difficult, of course, because it kills your income. And then there's knock-ons from that are always a pain.
Okay, well thanks, and I hope you, I wish you luck and try and get your life sorted.
Me too.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So you've heard from Tom Dupree. You've heard how his life was changed simply for expressing his free speech due to the actions of Hope Not Hate. Later on in this documentary, you'll hear recordings of Caelan Robertson and George Llewellyn-John, see how their lives have been affected. Caelan and George used to work with me at Rebel Media, and when I went independent, they come to work with me there. When I was released from prison, I met with them. They said that they had been intimidated and threatened, and for that reason they couldn't work with me. I just from prison. I wasn't in a good state, and I thought they were just saying that because they wanted to work with Lawrence Southern. Also, you'll hear recordings from Lawrence Southern. Lawrence Southern is a leading political activist from Canada. She now works as a journalist making documentaries. In those recordings, you'll hear about allegations about how they've suffered due to the actions of Hope Night. So I've been contacted by Lucy Brown, who's an ex-employee. The last time we spoke to each other, we were screaming obscenities to each other. Now she's been contacted by Hope Not Hate and by Panorama, who are working together on a project against me. Work entitled Tommy Taylor. So I'm on the way to see Lucy. I'm actually really concerned and worried about what it is they're up to, because I know everything they've tried to do to take me down hasn't worked. So let's see what's next. Last time I spoke to you, I screamed some obscenities, some terrible things.
So did I. I also had a surprise for you. I thought I'd commiserate it, so I actually got your prison number.
No, you haven't!
To remind myself the happiest day of my life.
What? 808-4CG?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh my God!
I laughed my head off.
Oh my God! Shit, Lucy, you were fucking angry. How have we ended up sitting here?
Well, I received a very interesting email from one John Sweeney a couple of days ago, who is a big, was it BBC presenter or Panorama? Yes, apparently he's quite well known. And he's asking if I want to go for first it was a cup of tea, but then it was a pint. And he'll come all the way to Cambridge to see me, and I think he wants some dirt on you.
You was approached by Joe Mulhall?
Joe Mulhall, yes, Hope Not Hate.
So you approached by Hope Not Hate and told you, I've seen what they've told you.
Yep.
They told you that there's a take Tommy down.
There's a Tommy takedown.
Tommy takedown.
Yes, and they've been taken on as sort of advisors to BBC to help them with interviews and to get information about me.
How easy would it have been for you to?
They offered me $5,000 for a front page story about you being a twat.
What you could have done, you could have absolutely destroyed me, and my life, and my name, and my reputation. More so than that prison, more so than me going in prison could have done. Because you could have said anything, and they would run.
I've arranged to meet John Sweeney tomorrow at 2 p.m. And by the sounds of it, what these people do is they try and be your friend when you're vulnerable, and they buy you a drink, and they try to get you to say something that you wouldn't normally say.
I want to show if what Lucy could have done. Well, none of it would be factual, but what Lucy could have done. Now, bear in mind, I might not be here. You could have just done this. Fake text messages, falsify sender numbers of text. So if you wanted to, my phone will be here. Let's change the number there. We'll keep that as we said. Let's put my number there. So you effectively, as a disgruntled employee who fucking got my prison number tattooed on your wrist.
Joe Mulhall's just messaged me.
Let's take down Tommy.
Broke, I've got no means of income, I hate you. Joe Mulhall's just messaged me saying I can get you some money to do Tommy in. So I can go to fakemytext.co.uk and I can make you text me, and then I can show.
No. My phone's here. I'm at home, minding my own business.
I've got Joe Mulhall there.
Joe Mulhall offering the takedown of Tommy Robinson.
Offering you some money, and you have said to me, what?
If you have anything to do with the Panodrama, I will fucking bury you. You bitch. No.
Hang on, because I'm writing YOU, but you write you.
I write you.
Sorry. I just need to make up some bad grammar because.
Yeah, drop the T's because I don't pronounce my T.
I'm going to put WIV instead of with. This Panorama, you wouldn't make that a capital letter.
No, I'll put with. I'll put with.
Okay, alright. With this Panorama dot.
If you have anything to do with Panorama
I will fucking bury you, comma.
bury
You bitch.
Just to prove, I could have nothing to do with this. I'm not. My phone's here, so I've not sent you a message.
Yeah, so let's wait.
And the point is that they're actively searching with a far left organisation. They're actively working with my ex-employees to bring me down. What I want to prove here is how easy it is and how many other things in this documentary have been faked on me. If you had anything to do with this Panorama, I will fucking bury you, you bitch. So I didn't send that. that's sent from my computer. My phone has not sent you a single message. Now, Panodrama are the biggest investigative journalists in the world, so I don't see how this can work. If they wanted to do a proper investigative journalist piece, they should look at the crime that I committed. Was it criminal? Did the judge act out of law? Were my human rights abused? One of the biggest cases in this country's history in modern time. Yeah, 600,000 people signed a petition, 30,000 people marching, ambassadors from the American government, every political party in Europe talking about it. The most talked about court case in decades, but they're not bothered about it. This is fake. Yeah, this is going to be falsified. This is not me, and I want to see if this, by a disgruntled ex-employee, could make its way around the world.
I'd like to see how much power Hope Not Hate have over the world's media.
Yeah, basically. This is the little money. This will replace your button. This will go into your button anyway. This is how we'll record. And are you nervous?
No.
You should be. You should be. And well, let's just wait and see what we get from this. Time will tell, but good luck. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Thanks, guys.
See you later. Success?
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. Let's see. Crazy? Crazy? Good? Good?
Yeah, just go!
Soon tonight. For the greater good.
I can smell it.
You'll see.
You took it for the team. I only drunk for the team.
I did what I had to do.
Right. Let's
get these files sorted.
work out what we've got. We've got lots of footage to go through. Straight up the crazy thing for me is, Steve.
Which is the champagne and the double gin.
Thank you.
And then we're going to have some red wine, but we'll think about that at the appropriate moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
On expenses in the booth with the dog having fire.
Okay.
I think we should have one more bottle here. Fuck it, no expense spare. 2 brandies, 2 lemon chives. This is from the Cassis, or the Kia Royale. But even better is another version which is with blackberry, blackcurrant, liqueur and champagne. Kia Royale. Have you got any flaming Sambuca? And then 2 Kia Royale, and then the bill. Lovely, thank you. Thank you very much. I think we've got to do a runner. It's a joke. It's fine. I don't care. Not only, I really don't care. Good. Service included, so make it 220. Thank you very much.
Was this on BBC Expenses? How much alcohol has been consumed? I've heard him mention 3 bottles of wine, champagne, flaming Sambuca, all in 5 minutes. And you can hardly sit up. So, for me, that's an expensive scandal that the licence fee payer is paying for. Should we be paying for you to get pissed? Yeah, of course you think we should.
Me getting drunk is me being more lucid, and then I'll tell him stuff.
No, so he's wanting to get you drunk. He's using the expense money to get you drunk in order to get information.
Get me drunk, be nice to me, be my friend, and then I'll loosen up and be like, oh, I've got this recording, or I can tell you this, or whatever.
You may not like what I'm about to say, but one of my political heroes is the former head of the IRA, who tells
Nick Knowles.
The guy got on well with the Queen. So there are 2 of them.
I should know that, but
Danny McGuinness, I think his name is, and he got on anyway. He was pretty stuffy IRA.
hey man, I've heard the Irish have been genocided.
And last time I was there, they're okay.
Martin McGuinness. His political hero is Martin McGuinness. Martin McGuinness leading the IRA. He's responsible for murder, bombs. It's a strange person to have as your political hero. From, well, I don't know, from someone who's trying to paint me as extreme anyway. That is the sole reason I wanted to do this. For me, that is terrifying. How can they get that? How can they say you can do that from that innocent conversation or argument or disagreement, which has got nothing to do with it? So that is the sole reason I wanted that footage, to see exactly what are, and that's terrifying for me to think, what the hell are they about to portray to this country? About what the hell are they going to say?
That's not the first time that's happened.
In what sense?
Because I told you about, I was offered £5 to do like a story on you, like a front page newspaper story.
Well, I hope I hate you, talking about your picture.
But I was also...
I hope I hate you who are working with these.
Yeah, but I was also approached by a really mainstream newspaper, basically, to kind of make it out that you were like sexual allegations against me or something.
They were approaching you for that. At a time when we fell out.
Yeah, they said when I was at my lowest and I basically didn't have a job and I was like, you know, a complete mess, and they were trying to like dig and get stuff out of me. And they were trying to make out that you'd done like a Me Too. They were trying to make out that you basically like abused me. And then they wanted to put in, they kind of ran with and went back to their editor, and then I called up and said, I really don't want this isn't true, you know, you've kind of twisted it to fit your own narrative here. And he said, well, I'm sorry, it's too late, I've already sent it to the editors, and they want to run the story, this journalist. So I then had to call up like, you know, this national journalist kind of like lawyery thing where you can call up and complain. And I had to put in writing saying, please do not put this out. If you put this out, I'm going to have to like, you know, go against you legally or something. So I had to fight to get this story out of the paper.
From a mainstream journalist, from a top tabloid.
Big.
In order to portray me as an abuse, essentially.
Victim, yeah. But it wasn't true.
With no truth in it all. No. And that for my life, do you know what? The whole purpose in me wanting this, the whole reason why I've wanted to do this, is because I've been absolutely terrified of what they're doing. And that one little recording there proves that they will change what I'm doing and saying. This is massive. This is Britain's leading investigative journalist documentary by the BBC that we pay for. Creating, editing news in order to destroy my life. Now, John Sweeney's been contacting me for weeks now for a gotcha moment where he can interview me and throw all these accusations from God knows who at me. Well, that gotcha moment is now in my hands. Because I'm now going to sit down and I'm going to put these to John Sweeney to see how he justifies any of this. Right. Fine. Yeah.
Just before we start, I just wanted, because I am of fair and balance, I just wanted to get a couple of things off you while we're here. Is that all right for we start?
Okay, but you're recording, I think, aren't you? You're recording, so after.
That's fine.
Okay. So we're not starting yet.
No, that's something you guys want to hear from you. So, this is a Panodrama documentary. You wouldn't be working with an organisation called Hope Not Hate on this documentary, would you? In order to find people to give opinions of you.
BBC must all be editorial report.
Okay, so it's BBC, because it'd be quite strange for the BBC to be, how the BBC could be impartial on a documentary when Hope Not Hate are an organisation who are funded specifically to to destroy them.
There are two separate entities. The BBC, I work for the BBC, this is the BBC Panorama production.
Okay, can I just quickly show something here? What is this? This is Joe Norhouse from Home Not Hate. And what he says in this message is that Home Not Hate are steering this documentary.
My name's John Sweeney, and I'm a reporter
Okay,
for Panorama.
Okay, John.
So what this other guy says, he's not
Okay, are you aware of any threats or blackmail that's been made to any of my ex-employees to give negative information about me to you? Are you aware?
No.
Can you listen to this one?
We were basically threatened with the most horrendous shit you can possibly imagine for 3 months, constantly to do this, constantly. Because basically, why they have dirt on us is when we left Rebel. I don't know if I told you this. When we left Rebel, we were really fucking angry, and none of the media would take all the stuff we had on them. So Nick Close reached out to me on Twitter and he was like, "Oh, up with us." And we were like, "Oh, okay." Like we weren't working with anyone then, so we were like, "Yeah, fuck it." And we met up with them twice, and we were like, "Oh, we can write a book on Rebel Media. We can write a book on how they scammed people and this and this and this and this and this." And we were like really conniving with them. One of the first things they started threatening us with, this only started 3 months ago. We had no contact with them between 3 months ago and leaving Rebel, nothing. They started messaging us saying, "We need to meet you, this is really serious." And then when we met them, they said to George, I wasn't there, "We're going to release all of the meetings that you've had with us, threatening Rebel Media and talking shit about right-wing personalities and bitching about nothing serious, just setting all their hands. And they're going to make you, and we're going to basically expose you." And also we've got 6 signatures from the top trade unionist organisations in the country saying that they're going to come after you, and the government have opened a new department which we're advising on counter-terrorism, which are going to prosecute you for writing these scripts which have incited the Darren Osborne terrorist attack. And it was like, they were basically like, "You're going to fucking go to jail and you're going to get exposed for meeting with us if you don't work with us." This is what it all comes down to, this Panorama fucking thing. And Hope Not Hate were there standing next to the BBC producers.
When you went for the meeting Panorama, who from Hope Not Hate was it?
Nick, Joe, John Sweeney, and the producer. They blackmailed us, in fact, like Joe fucking used the whole thing to try and get into Caelan's hands. This is how bad it really was. When we pulled up in London, this is the day I dropped off the suitcase to you, right? That I went straight off from there, I can't remember where it was, to go and do this interview with them. They hired out this big car park warehouse thing. They had a little chair in the middle of it. I walked into this room, sat down. It was a cameraman, it was the head producer, it was Nick, and it was Joe. And then I started getting really nervous because she was saying, "How much money? Name numbers, name figures." And I was like, "Well, it was enough to pay for us to make videos, and all the money was spent on it." And I was just saying vague shit. And then Joe said, "Can we stop the interview, please?" And then I was like, "Okay." And then Nick went, "Can you come with us, Caelan?" And then Nick and Joe took me to the other side of the warehouse and said, "Caelan, you really need to give them more information than this. You really need to open up a little bit more because this is really not useful to them. They're probably not even going to use this. You need to go into specifics, you need to go into numbers, you need to at least show them something."
Were they threatening you at you?
Have a cigarette and we'll come back to it.
Were they threatening you then?
I had a cigarette and I went back and I sat down and I still couldn't really do it, and it was really bad. Like I was like shaking the whole time. And that's when we told Panorama that we didn't feel that it was safe, that it was not okay, and that we were basically threatened.
Bit of a strange one here.
It's been a minute.
I know, sorry man, I know it's 4 o'clock in the morning here, but I've just got off the phone to Caelan for an hour, yeah? How much have they told you about Hope Not Hate?
Not much. Why?
You're aware they've been meeting with them regularly?
I've met Joe too before. Yeah, I know that Caelan and George have met with them before.
Continually met with them? When you was doing your borderless documentary, Hope Not Hate flew out to Italy to meet them?
I don't know what they were talking about, but for the most part, like I think they're just afraid of them. From what I've been told, it's like they're like, "Oh, they're kind of blackmailing us, like hang out with us, or else we're going to get you guys arrested or whatever." So they just met with them.
So hold on a second. I work for Panorama.
Why Home Not Hate president? Why Home Not Hate president in the UK officer?
I work for Panorama, and we are doing a film about you.
You're aware of that? Are you aware of the
Look at me. I'm a reporter and I'm asking you questions. Okay. Right. I get the report.
Are you aware? Let me ask you one question. Are you aware that in recent images sent by someone from Home Aid to Cambridge?
I'm aware of the allegation.
You are.
I'm aware of the allegation, and I do not think it's credible or serious. If I'm wrong, you can put that information out there.
If somebody has been blackmailed, threatened, intimidated by an organisation that you're stealing your documentaries, okay, can we hear the next one? Play the next bit.
Made really inappropriate. I don't know how to describe it. Almost like basically like a sexual assault situation towards me when I was really drunk, pretty much passed out.
Fucking hell, it's getting messier and messier.
No, hold on, yeah, okay. And I like got really upset and I broke down and I told George about it last week because it's really fucked me up. And George messaged Nick, and apparently nearly got suspended. And like it's fucking, it's a really big mess.
We'll come to Milan to see you. Who did he come with?
Nick.
He come with Nick, so Nick was with him.
Yeah.
And what did he do when you were drunk?
Nick wasn't there at that moment. Nick had gone home. So we were filming. We were filming with Lauren, and then they said like, "You've got to meet us. You've got to meet us. You've got to meet us." So we flew to Spain via Milan. Met them in Milan. Literally just had a coffee with them, and they basically just carried on threatening us. And said you've got to do like Sky and all one mainstream media thing. And then I went back to London to drop something off and to go then to Spain. So Caleb was left in Milan for one night. Nick left that night as well, I think. And then this is when this thing happened. Caleb said that he was basically really wasted and he thinks let himself into Caleb's room. And basically, yeah, Caleb kind of woke up and was like half naked, like trying to do stuff with him, and then Caleb said no, and I was like, oh, you don't have to tell anyone, blah, 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 blah. And Caleb was like really fucked up about it. So this was like 3 months ago, or 2 months ago, and Caleb only told me about it last week. So I messaged Nick saying like, we need to talk, what the fuck is going on? And then Nick said that he's like doing an investigation into it. George also messaged Panodrama saying, guys, Joe not hate raped Caleb. Hello.
Hi Joe, it's Tommy Robinson.
Oh, hi there, how's it going?
Yeah, not bad. Obviously you're aware I have a documentary coming out on Saturday. I'd just like to ask you a couple of questions quickly about your involvement.
Bear with me, I'm not going to be able to do it on the phone. Well, I'm not going to I'd have to speak to colleagues before I can do anything, I'm afraid.
So you can't just answer why you were you present during an interview with Caleb Robertson and Panodrama?
I'm not going to talk about anything on the phone.
Why not? Why not?
You can't just ring someone up. If you want to speak to me, you can drop me an email and we can...
This is just your opportunity to counter what's being said.
I'm not going to answer any questions on the phone. Although I don't see what's the issue there is you can try and answer it.
So, were you and Nick Knowles present during an interview with Caleb Robertson and Panodrama?
Well, I'll tell you everything I'm going to say to you, Tommy. I'm not going to answer any questions like that. If you want
Just a yes or no. It's a simple yes or no.
Simply, look, Tommy, we're wasting time.
Okay.
We must ensure we avoid bias or an imbalance of views. Our output will be based on fairness, openness, and straight dealing. Contributors will be treated honestly and with respect.
There are people being intimidated and blackmailed, who's giving negative reviews against you. The men who are doing it are present during your interviews for saying independently. Now, John, when it comes to fake news, your John Williams, I'm going to separate you from these allegations that are being made. There are allegations. Okay, so these allegations.
And there is no evidence apart from your words and
John.
as instructions.
No. And I know we have okay, John, would you tell them what they have to say in the interview about? No, maybe next one.
We only, the BBC we only do question areas. So here's, it's a volunteer army. I want you to be comfortable about it. So is there anything you don't want me to ask about? This is, I'm not supposed to answer this. I'm not supposed to answer this. I'm not supposed to answer this. So I'm going to ask you about, I'm going to take it through what I want from you, following. Simple two things. One, people like us, the BBC, the establishment, have not listened to what Tommy's been saying, and that's bad.
Yes.
And so the extent to which the entire conversation about extremism, about what that means for ordinary Brits up and down the country, closing that down, shutting it off as racist full stop is wrong. And that goes in the camp. And you say that, and that will appear in the show. The second thing is, but there's something. My own personal experience, it was difficult because I was a good trooper, and then suddenly I was friends with dogs. He's a human being. He's funny and charismatic, and can be great company, and he's not your he's not a Nazi. Number three, partly because of the pressure, partly because of the chaos, you fall out. It's horrible because it turns on the wall. Those three elements are very good. And those three elements will appear in the show, I promise you.
He has...
Heel. We have a proper ding dong.
Okay. Because there's a lot of people that...
And the good stuff, your stuff, goes in.
So there you are. So I don't have to put on the record, I don't have a problem with that. I'm saying I'm putting after a long conversation. I've got a long conversation. Which you haven't. I've got you 6 times telling that individual what they must say. And let's go to the next question.
Good of you to make it sexualised, and he wanted it to make it out like you basically like Harry Weinstein thing.
Oh God, man.
Because you're like a position of power.
You're lying.
And like all this shit. And I was like, yeah,
So when I'm being told, this isn't about you, when I'm being told that journalists are approaching people, I'm not sorry, I don't understand what I'm saying. I'll tell you what I'm saying. I'll tell you what I'm saying. This specifically is not about you. But when I felt sick, okay, because I found out that journalists were offering money to try and get a young girl to do a Harvey Weinstein story. Now, you're Panodrama, you're John Sweeney. So let me play the next.
I call him like a silly little man and stuff. I'm just shouting at him.
We would love that.
It was quite bad.
Could we have that? I'll drop you in it.
On everything, it will drop me in it. Everything will drop me in it.
Not necessarily.
It was really bad. We had this great big argument in Woburn High Street. Yeah, maybe. I suppose that I did give to the lawyers, and they said, well, actually, this for the case doesn't really work because you're just having a dispute. Doesn't really whatever. But I thought I'd record it just in case. Maybe I'll do that. It's only audio. It's only audio.
That's fine. How angry did it get?
He gets really angry and then he runs away and gets in the car and drives off. And I shout after the car. It's really bad.
We can clip that bit. We can clip that bit. We can clip that bit. My view about that is that I think doing a kind of gender, a kind of sexual thing against the person I was talking to now was worried about whether she would be identified. Now clearly that paper is now in your hands, so we can see if she's working.
So you said she was clear to make you said she was do you have any idea what implications? You tried to turn a normal argument into a sexual matter.
No.
Initially, you're tackling it Do you understand the implications? I've got 3 young children. Do you think before you destroy a man's life? Because this is what you were planning on doing.
No,
I've got the evidence.
you misunderstand me.
I misunderstand.
So what I was trying to do was to say to that source that if necessary we would change her gender to turn her, for example, into a man. I've done on regular occasions where I have political.
So you not realise I've got all of this text? You're hanging yourself. You're hanging yourself. So John says I'm misrepresenting him, and in fact he was telling her he could change her gender so she could not be identified. Let's just hear that clip again.
I call him like a silly little man and stuff. I'm just shouting at him.
Can we log that?
It was quite bad.
Can we have that? I'll drop you in it.
On everything, it will drop me in it. Everything will drop me in it.
Not necessarily.
It was really bad. We had this great big argument in Woburn High Street. Yeah, maybe. I suppose that I did give to the lawyers, and they said, well, actually, this for the case doesn't really work because you're just having a dispute. It doesn't really whatever. But I thought I'd record it just in case. Maybe I'll do that. It's only audio. It's only audio.
That's fine. How angry did he get?
He gets really angry and then he runs away and gets in the car and drives off. And I shout after the car. It's really bad.
We can clip that bit. We can clip that bit. We can clip that bit. My view about that is that I think doing a kind of gender, a kind of sexual thing against
We can do a kind of gender, a sexual thing against Tony Robinson. Nice try, John.
We should not present invented material as facts or knowingly do anything to mislead our audiences.
Well, I've done 10 years worth of demonstrations. I've got cameras on the absolute everywhere. And what they've been trying to expose at the top is possibly that I'm a racist or I'm a homophobe or something like that. I had you undercover for one boozy lunch, and you were repeatedly racist.
To do a cab too.
I pre-booked because the dog makes a noise every time.
Alright.
You know wine, don't you?
Wine?
Because...
wine?
Yeah, it's Asian camper drivers don't like taking dogs.
How dare you? How dare you? Where's my phone? Say that on camera, right? Racist.
True.
So this is the first one. So then you identify this.
And I correct those words said, but the context is simple. I had a good world experience like that. There was a court case in today's papers where an Asian taxi driver has lost his license. He was refused to carry a blind dog.
You're doing exactly what your channel does over breeding. You're blaming an entire continent, but let's face it, Islam believes dogs run things, so Muslim taxi drivers don't like dogs. But you have stereotypes of the entire continent. Then that wasn't enough for you. You want to then have a go at Greeks.
And then it always goes down well. Is Jessica in the room, which is like you in Turkish. When you're pissed, you want to piss off a Greek yourself, speaking Turkish. And they know, and they don't, anyway, never mind, they like it, but it's quite fun. Tell me that's pathetic, that's a joke.
You find it funny joke about the invasion of the country where women on peninsula raped and murdered.
Okay,
You find that funny? No, John.
So I have many Turkish Greek friends.
You're upset at the Islamic community because you find it funny to speak in Turkish because you find that funny. But none of this is funny. None of this is funny. None of this is funny. Let me next one.
I have a little more in common. I have more in common with Tom than most of the reporters.
Yeah.
I scumbag Irish background.
Scumbag Irish background. So my family is scumbag Irish background because they're all of mine. I'm talking about myself. You said you have more in common with me. You have more in common with me. A scumbag Irish background.
It's a joke.
That's a joke.
So, wait a second. It's a joke. So I'm very, very proud of my Irish heritage.
My great-grandmother used to scumbag to you, John.
No,
Who's a scumbag?
I'm very proud of my
Yeah.
If you get somebody like me talking to a source, and actually that source is in fact a mole working for Tommy Robinson, then in the context of a 2-3 hour conversation, there will be moments where jokes happen.
I'm very proud of this one.
But you've been beaten up by Antifa, or rather Antifa has attacked somebody and you've been in there.
Those people are brainwashed.
And they're lefty people, they're lefty,
Self-hating whites.
I'll go call them honky.
How do you use salvation? How do you use salvation? You call them monkeys.
Hold on a second.
You call them
This is a conversation with your source. In what I'm trying to do,
You're trying to label me, and what's happened is in 1 after in 1 month, you've been, okay, let's talk about homophobia. You seem obsessed with gays. So you have an obsession, because then you ask if Joe Morgan's gay, like,
Because they've not gone out and just had a mate that's gay. That's the difference. So you've got people up in like all these different places in the UK or whatever, and they're sort of... They've not just had a gay mate.
Have they never mentioned conservatives then?
No. I remember one line in particular, she said, what do you think about LGBT or something? And I said, well, some of the stuff that gay people say is just ridiculous. And that's me being the way
By the way, there's nothing wrong with it, so something worse, I guess.
probably that's the way that I would speak to Kaylin. You know, that's the way that I would speak to Kaylin in a bar. You know, like.
They're ridiculous, they should be shot.
Well, yeah, exactly. No, obviously.
No, I know, you can say it.
No.
Good.
That's the thing, because unbeknownst
I would say that, by the way, I would...
What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Joe's dick pics.
Is he gay? Oh my gay darling's rubbish. These are Virgin Muffins. These are Virgin Muffins. These are Virgin Muffins.
The best man win.
Yeah. That's a bit weird.
Gin Doble.
I'm not going to
what if our company going stands for Luftwaffe?
Presenters, reporters and correspondents are the public face and voice of the BBC.
Luftwaffe is when you ask your able to say, that's the most revolutionary term we can use for homosexual person.
My oldest friend at university is gay. I'm not
Is it okay to use the terminology Luftwaffe? Is that okay?
It's not great.
Is it okay, John? No, it's not. It's one of the most derogatory terms.
It's not derogatory, but the idea that I'm homophobic is not true.
Let's get down to the reason. Let's get down to the reason that you and all of the media, you're trying to destroy me with a You're blackmailing people.
Okay.
You're lying. Listen, you're blackmailing or alleged to blackmail people who are in your meetings, in your interviews, whilst young men are being, whilst young men are being in order. I'm not. You've just heard people making allegations. I'm not the man making allegations. You've heard those are witness statements to my solicitor. Now let me go to the next one. Let me go to the reason why.
I have to ask you a question.
You can ask me a question, isn't it?
Because it's basically on the end of the set.
Let me go to the next one.
I want to know.
Okay, let me go to the next one.
Okay.
This is the reason. So now everyone understands the reason why the elite, the classes, elite, am I a cannibal? Let me play the next one.
Yeah, I've read that Danny was, I was working on some film on Newsnight, and Danny was in the green room, and it was unusual to meet a white working class male in the Newsnight green room, and I was in the same way.
Who's normally in there?
Sorry?
Who's normally in there?
It was so unusual, but me and Mark and my mates, we went down there to have a drink with him, in the way that you would do with somebody from the, a cannibal from the Amazonian, from Amazonia, or maybe a creature from us.
So working class white male is a cannibal from the Amazon. That's what you said, it's a wrong concept.
Okay, so wait a second.
You are a classist elitist. The way you view working class people is a disgrace. The reason we have the problem we have is because the journalists like yourself, from the background to the front, sneering down upon our community, sneering down, thinking you're better than us, and let me just...
My understanding of the Labour Party today is they're almost like blooming, I don't know, activists.
Well, the point is, you hear much more accents like yours and mine, rather than Tories.
So the Labour Party, they will have accents like yours or the middle class, rather than fuck off. You believe the working class vocabulary is simply fuck off. That is your classism. What I'm doing here is I'm exposing you. And right now, son, because right now,
Because this text was sent to us, yes, and this is the text from that source who got that in.
Okay.
And the text is from you. If you had anything to do with this panorama job,
I have big arguments that do not come from my phone. If you are allowed to explain to the explanation of this would be, right now, this would be going on a documentary that would be aired to the private public.
it wouldn't be because we would
As I expected, they did not bother to verify the authenticity of that fake text message in their hunt to take me down. John says he would give me the right to reply, to which I would say it's fake. But the fake allegation that I threatened to murder my ex-female employee would effectively be aired to millions of people across the world. And I'm certain every national newspaper would run with the headline, Tommy Robinson threatens to kill female employee. I wanted to prove, and I've just proved, how easy it is for fake news to be created and for people to be targeted and their lives destroyed.
You have been harmed. My solicitor is currying a court injunction against you.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. That's over. So this is all right.
This is fake news exposed. Okay? John. Once again, this is my phone. It wasn't sent from the phone, I didn't send it.
Hold on, it wasn't sent from the phone, I didn't send it. Is this a lie?
We'll be able to catch all the money. We'll be able to catch all the money from it.
No, we have to
Now, we're finished. No, we have finished. In fact, John, you've finished your career. You've finished your career. I know something. I know something. I can find out the
I'm not a homophobe. It's a lie. This is a stitch up.
What the establishment was about to do to me, and they were going to destroy my name, and are you working the home?
No. We have had some input from some, including yours five. Not
John, you are fake news. You're fake news.
No.
You've been creating. You've been lying. You've been proving.
You told us to lie. And you, sir, are the source of the lie. The idea that I'm homophobic, that's not true. This man has lied to us through people. So, hold on.
Once this goes live, which is going to outside your offices on the 23rd of February, I'm going to get
what you do is you threaten people.
It's all evidence.
You always threaten people. And the house.
John, don't talk about hate when you're calling people worthless. You intentionally. Oh, you are sorry. What about, are you sorry to the Greeks? Are you sorry to the Irish community? Are you sorry? You insulted a Greek woman by speaking Turkish to her. You said you found it funny. It's on camera. It's on camera. You said you would sexualise. You said you would sexualise my comments that were innocent.
No.
Yes, you did. You on camera.
No, I didn't.
No.
Anyway, this is a lie. Good luck with your injunction.
Good luck, my injunction.
We haven't finished on Panorama. And stop threatening people. You shouldn't threaten Julia Redner. You think I'm finished? I've got another thing coming. And I can give you that for free. Okay? Good. Go and find a lawyer.
I've already been with the lawyer, John. I've already been the lawyer. I've already dissected every one of your comments.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
What I've done is read the worst possible thing. I can defend every second of it. Yes, I can, and I will. And on that note, all I'm saying
the establishment, you work for the establishment.
none of these people of the establishment.
You're working with Home Not Hate, you're working with the government, and you're all going against me
I'm
because
not
I speak out.
working with the British
This is a
government.
campaign.
I understand some of the anxieties that you have. I get them. And
Why would you be creating one? Why would you tell someone to say that? Why would you
I
tell them?
didn't do that, and you're mischaracterising me.
You didn't do that. Everyone's going to watch this.
No, I know everybody's going to watch it, and it will be good fun. But more people will watch
Good
the
fun.
Panodrama.
You find please,
No,
this is my life job, it's my life.
It's my life too. It's my life too,
You find it fun.
And I
You
think
find it
right.
fun to tell someone that an innocent comment is sexualised. Do you know what that would do to my family? Do you know what it does to my children? Do you know what you're doing?
Okay.
Do you know what you're doing to my family? You have no idea what you're doing to my family. If you'd have got away with what you were trying to do to me, you'd have ruined me. You'd have broken my marriage. There's only one journalist in this room, John, and it's not you. Okay? You have a disgrace. And in fact, anyone who's been taken down by Panodrama, anyone has to change now, because there is no integrity in any of the work you've done. You are a liar, you're a fraud, you're a racist, you're a homophobe. You were trying to destroy my life. You have been contacting people. Why were Hope Not Hate present? Why were the leaders of a far-left George Soros-funded organisation, why were they present during the interviews of a person which you were going to give bad information about? Why were they present? Tell me. If this is a Panodrama documentary, why were Hope Not Hate present? This is an establishment attack on me, and you're part of it. And you've been exposed to the world today.
So let's summarise what you've seen. You've seen the BBC, who pride themselves on being impartial and reporting the truth. You've witnessed the main man from Panodrama telling someone what to say, brokering a deal on what they have to say about me. Now, if he's broken a deal with her, who else has he broken a deal with? Who else is being told what to say? They're scripting the documentary. They're also creating and inventing news. Sexual thing against Tommy Robinson. What else? When we've got two other people saying they're being blackmailed in order to give negative reviews of me. Who else would have participated in this documentary? What else was going to be said? What other lies and manufactured evidence would there have been on this documentary? You've seen the contempt they have for the working class. The contempt they have for you, the licence fee payer. You pay your licence fee, and if you don't, you're taken to court. Just so the elitist, fake news journalists can travel this country drinking champagne on your expense. Now, if there's one thing that symbolises the BBC, we all know about the fake news. I've just proved to you that they create the fake news, that it's not impartial, that they work with far-left extremist organisations. That's been proven. If there's one thing that symbolises them, the BBC covered for Jimmy Savile. They covered for Stuart Hall. Up to 100 children were raped and abused, many of them on the property of this organisation. Let me show you this statue that is at the entrance to the BBC. That statue was sculptured by a man called Eric Gill. Eric Gill was a paedophile. He raped his own daughters. He had sex with animals. He had an incestuous relationship with his sister. When the Catholic Church became aware of this man's crimes, they removed and covered all sculptures made by him. The BBC refused to. They were asked to, but they refused to. If you have disgust now, and you're fed up with paying for this, or for the propaganda they use against you, for the negative portrayal of Brexit, if you're fed up with all of these things, what can you do? I'll show you what I'm going to do, and I hope you follow my lead. You can legally not have a TV licence in the UK. You do not have to have it. Okay? None of us ask the BBC to come into our homes and display their programme on our TV. If you're fed up of paying for their propaganda, and you don't even watch their shows, you can follow the steps I'm about to take you through now to end them. There's a few things you need to know once you've filled out these forms. It's a myth that the BBC can sit outside your house and detect that you're watching TV. That is a myth, it's not true. If the BBC TV inspector knocks at your door, you can. Be polite, you should be polite. You can open your door, say I don't need a TV licence, I haven't got one, goodbye, I don't watch live TV. That's it. They have no rights to come into your home. It's obvious that if a TV licence inspector walked past your front window and you had your curtains open and you were watching Panodrama on BBC, which I don't think you will, but if you're watching BBC, they will fine you. But you do not have to have a TV licence. And I'm going to take you through the steps. I'm going to ask, please follow these steps now. Follow exactly what I'm about to do. Go to www.tvlicensing.co.uk. You'll find a link, declare no licence needed. Upon clicking this, you'll be brought to another page where they try to convince you you need a licence, even though you legally don't. Ignore that and click the button that says, tell us you don't need a licence. Step 1, select the type of property you live at. Complete name, email and phone. Step 2, enter your property address. Step 3, tick the 3 boxes for the declaration. You will then be asked what date you want to start watching live TV again. Tick the button to the right.
Tommy Robinson! Oh, Tommy Robinson! Oh, Tommy Robinson!
Will the mainstream media report on that? I bet you no journalists report anything about it. Now, when this actually goes out, when it's released, hopefully tonight, when you see the subtitles, there's some other additions to make it very clear what they were doing, what they were saying. For me, what winds me up, the minute he says we can make this a sexual thing against Tommy Robinson. The dictaphone recording that she was talking about was about Ali Dawah. It had nothing to do with it. We can clip that and make it a sexual thing about Tommy Robinson. Now, for me, so imagine my kids going to school next day after anything with allegations like that. They know if you throw mud it sticks. I beat down the name of the allegation of sexual assault and rape by the employee of Hope Not Hate. I didn't have to beep out your name. I done it because it's an allegation and I don't think it's fair to destroy your life over an allegation. The time of the British media working hand in hand with Hope Not Hate must stop. Lucy Brown, her comments on this would be said, she said, can you say that I wanted to do the right thing for my country and I believe Hope Not Hate are a threat to democracy? Do you know, the lady just said to me there, I subscribe to you monthly. None of that would have been possible without the people who support me. So every single one of you who have showed any support, if you shared the videos, I hope, I thank you, because I wouldn't even have been able to do any of that. I wouldn't have been able to do any of this. The people who paid for this, I wouldn't have been able to do any of it to highlight the fake news media. We all knew they're fake news anyway. Everyone knew it. I just wanted the evidence to show you it. I wanna.
Tommy Robinson! Oh, Tommy Robinson!
I want to say a thank you as well to Ashley and to Jack, the team who made that documentary. We also have plans, as I said earlier, for more documentaries, so yeah, watch this space. And also, I want to do a documentary on the left, exposing the left some more. Isn't it great we played that under that BBC sign? Winning! You know what? Panorama, still, this week, were contacting people about me. So I guess they're still going to try and carry on, but we'll see. And
Socks in the morning! Yeah, socks in the morning! Socks in the morning! Yeah, socks in the morning! Socks in the morning! You're getting socks in the morning! Socks in the morning! You're getting socks in the BBC! Beautiful! BBC! Beautiful! Sideways!
there's also someone that I really have to pay an emotional tribute to. It's been a really good mate, a really good friend.
This is pretty much better than the entire documentary, I guarantee.
It's my friend from the WhatsApp group. Motherfuckers be coming through, and this is what me and we're going to do. We're going to punch you in the head and kick you in the face, because I am the king of the whole Islam race! Fuck you, fake news. There's also someone who... Is it up?
Sideways!
Danny Monroe is a gentleman who would 100% been here today. Sadly, he passed away, so that's just a tribute to someone who would have been here. And again, do you know, I put that up of Danny because I ended up speaking to his family and friends when he passed away, but I just want every single one of you to know from me, I know that you probably have arguments with your family members, yeah? I know people get demonised, I know people at work, I know how difficult it is for every single one of you to show your support, so I really do appreciate it.
I know it's Salford, not Manchester, innit? I know. And Kelly's come over. She's come from Canada. We're going to end on the song again, but I think we're going to say a few words.
My name is Kelly Day. I come from Canada. I'm honored to be here. So, we have our own version of the BBC called the CBC, how original, and we fight with the same bullshit. And I am so sick of watching good men get slandered and good women get slandered, and that's why I'm here. Honored to be here. Thank you for coming. Let's do this one more time, shall we? By the way, I have a Canadian YouTuber where I do some conservative commentary. If you want to know what's happening across the pond, please do subscribe. I heard there was a secret court where journalists weren't allowed to report, but you don't really care for freedom, do ya? It goes like this without the fifth. The gavel falls and they cuff your wrist, and it's not okay that this is how they rule ya. Hallelujah, how they rule ya. Yeah, sing along. Hallelujah, how they rule ya. He has been here before. He's seen his room and he's walked this floor. Last time they tried to kill him, but he ended, yeah. They need the voice of the growing state, and they won't stop who their voice made. And it's not okay that this is how they rule ya. There was a time the press let you know who was really coming to your shows, but now they don't tell the story ever true, yeah. The state tries to say Tommy is racial hate, but really it's a fear of the caliphate. And the state says no, take it, this is how we rule ya. 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 Now pedophiles are celebrated while Tommy Robinson was incarcerated. But you never seem to care for children, do ya? The grooming gangs moved in on you, and the kids looked up to you for truth. Please don't just sing, baby, this is how we rule ya. Hallelujah, hallelujah, how they rule ya. How they rule ya. How they rule
we're gonna release Panodrama because it's so much. It makes so much. It's so easier when you see the subtitles. But we had such drama this morning. I'll just do the ending of it. So when the documentary is released, this will be the ending. Today, we exposed the BBC with thousands of people